Hi, I'm back with Resist 35 Profiles of Ordinary People Who Rose Up Against Tyranny and Injustice by Veronica Chambers. And today we're talking learning about Delores Huerta and Cesar Chavez. Chavez. And we are in the mid 1960s. Cherish your heritage. The harvest is great. Delores Huerta and Cesar Chavez shared a vision to organize the farm workers who picked the fruits and vegetables that fed our nation, and to help those people and their families have a better life. Remember, we've talked about this several times in our classroom. Farm workers, Esperanza Rising, right? Migrant farm workers. Together, they founded the National Farm Workers Association, now called the United Farm Workers of America. People said that although they loved each other, Delores and Cesar could fight like brother and sister. They embraced their differences. They encouraged each other to speak up whenever one of them disagreed. How could they be strong in the face of all their challenges if they didn't have the courage to be honest with each other? Delores proved to be a shrewd lobbyist and negotiator. She fought for and won the right for farm workers to collect aid for their families and disability insurance when they were hurt on their job, something they could never do before. She helped elect President Bill Clinton, Congressman Ron DeLumes, Governor Jerry Brown, Congresswoman Hilda Solis, and Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. Delores knew how to help connect people across the issues that mattered most, and she helped teach a generation that one of the most valuable things they owned was their vote. Together, Cesar and Delores organized the Salad Bowl Strike of 1970, the largest farm worker strike in American history. This was where Cesar did some of his most powerful work. He was great on the ground, connecting with people. The national boycott of California table grapes brought Delores to New York, and there she got to know Gloria Steinem and members of the modern women's rights movement. It hadn't occurred to her how much she was a role model to young women. She began to be an even louder voice for gender equality in the farm workers movement. It was Delores and Cesar who first began the national use of the phrase, "Si se puede," yes we can. The phrase ended up being the slogan of Barack Obama's historic presidential campaign. But years before, it was just Delores and Cesar sitting across from each other in a tiny office, encouraging each other that they could do what nobody had ever done before: shine a spotlight on the farm workers of America, and in the process, transform the lives and legacy of millions of families for generations. The resist lesson in this section is honor the hands that harvest your crops. Honor the hands that harvest your crops. Next time you go shopping at Whole Foods or Key Foods or wherever you go shopping, look at a lot of fruits and vegetables come with like a little label, and just look where they come from. Is it they come from Mexico? Do they come from the US? Do they come from Brazil? Ecuador? Where does your food come from? Where does your food come from? And think about how far has it had to travel from where it grew to where it is in a store today here in Brooklyn, New York, and the United States of America. A lot of our fruits and vegetables travel a really long distance before we buy them and eat them and put them in our salad or our smoothies or whatever we cook them for. And it'd be interesting to think about all the different countries where our food comes from and wonder who picked this for me, for us to have. And what these two people, their passion was to make sure that people were getting paid a living wage, a decent wage, and that they were working under conditions that were humane and lawful and equitable and just deserving of what they were doing for the economy and for one another. And that wasn't the case when these two got involved. So they did a lot. They did a lot of, I remember when I was a kid, Cesar Chavez would go on hunger strikes to make a point, to resist. And I remember his name being in the news a lot, so I remember that. Again, feel free to learn more about where your food comes from. I think that's kind of interesting. It's an interesting project, and I hope that we do get to do math projects this year, and I think that would be really interesting for some of you to trace where the food comes from. That could be an interesting math project. Something to think about for later. All right, so that's the end, and I will see you next time. Bye.